Welcome, everybody, to FraxCheck, your weekly Frax vibe check. I'm your host, Capital K, and I'm joined by my co host, DeFi Dave, and our producer extraordinaire, Sam. And we're going to be going straight to the source of truth via checking the chain. But before we do that, please gently, lovingly tap that subscribe button and hit that like button. And please drop a comment. We'd love to say hi to you. And before we move on further, make sure you head on over to at Flywheel DeFi on Twitter and at Flywheel DeFi on Telegram to join the conversation. Boys, this week, I call this week Bls Make It Stop.
Please.
Bls Make
I
It
mean,
Stop.
it's been a hell of a 2 weeks. Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a hell of a 2 week, and the aftermath is definitely evident that we've been through a hellish 2 weeks. So first off, I just want to rip the Band-Aid. This is Max Payne. We are down another 11% on the Frax stable coin, the flagship Frax stable coin. That is 800
Can we preface this on saying this is going to be the bottom, I think, in my opinion, of like the most Max Payne, especially with the space we just had with Sam Kaz about Frax V3 and like what they have cooking and in store. Like I would expect like this would be near the bottom, and this would actually create demand, natural demand for Frax in the future with their design and what they're hinting at.
Agreed. If we were to look at what happened with DAI with the ESDR, then a similar growth would probably look like for Frax. But regardless, we are where we are today, and this is the truth. We have 812 million, 812.6 million in Frax stablecoin supply, which is down 11% from 2 weeks ago. And I will show you exactly where that 100 mil effectively came from. But regardless, this is a stable coin, so we got to check the peg. We have a dashboard peg of 0.999 to a low of 0.998. Very good on the dashboard. However, when we go into the curve Frax BP and smash it with 100 million Frax, we have an exchange rate of 0.9815. Holy shit. I think this is the lowest I've ever seen it. So this is very, it's raising flags. Definitely not a good time to swap out. But a great time to deposit in if you have USDC. You're gonna get positive slippage going in.
Is it because of the ratios, or is it because of the drawdown in liquidity?
The liquidity is still pretty much the same from 2 weeks ago, but I think this is because of the ratio right now. Yeah.
Right.
So, but it's all right. The team is going to fix this sooner rather than later. So moving on, we have the most transparent financial reporting in history, and that is the Frax balance sheet. Here, as we, for folks who are kind of living under the rock for the past 2 weeks, we had one of a craziest curve fiasco where Frax effectively had to reduce its curve AMO practically down to zero for a course of like almost a day and a half before adding it back in. But after the aftermath, it shakes out that we are actually down about 18% from our balance. And we recall the balance is effectively assets minus liabilities and any excess we have. We initially was around the 120 million mark. We dropped down to the 98 million mark here. What's interesting though is I took the assets plus let assets, divide that by total liabilities, and I received a collateralized ratio of 94%. So even though all that craziness happened, we only dropped by 0.5% in our collateral ratio, which is pretty cool. I expected it to be a lot worse. But yeah, so just for folks who wants to do the math at home.
Can we talk about black swans?
Yeah, sure.
It's in the past year, in change. We've seen the collapse of Luna and the 4-pool, USDC depeg, and now
compiler exploit.
Compiler exploits of Curve. Honestly, the thing about Curve probably would have like been the least black spawny thing, I think, but still rocking and still doing well. And,
not party rocking.
I'm for what's happened in the past like year. I think we're still doing pretty good, and the future is bright.
Yeah, I remember what Sam said. This always kind of stuck with me. It's a stablecoin needs to be able to ratchet up and ratchet down, and this is the clearest example of being able to do so. In literally in the matter of hours, they're able to pull all the liquidity, protect the treasury assets, and then again within hours redeploy all of it. So that was just great to see. But just I want to highlight one point for folks who wants to do the math at home along with us. If you go to the balance sheet, you take all of the owned assets plus the lent assets divided by the liabilities is how you effectively get the collateral ratio. And with that, on the next slide, you'll see the collateral ratio. Like I said, I did the math and it was 94% rather than 94.5%, which is shown here on the dashboard. So we're currently at the collateral ratio of 94% and our decentralization percent at 18.9. I need to update the math there, but 18.9%. So we also dropped a bit on the decentralization ratio. Now, on the TVL here of the Frax BP, which is effectively liquidity as a service, we are down to 456 million. 456 million in TVL. That is a 7.1% drop. And you guys can see in the chart here, that moment right there was when we dropped down from the protocol removing its POL right there. And then in the matter of a day, the protocol put back its POL. That's what the hop came right back up to. Look at that. Whoop. Hilarious. But what was great about that is we did a utilization rate of 124 million for the month of July. So for the month of July, we're able to print 124 million in monthly, which is 27% of the pool, which is I think pretty good utilization rate compared to where we were. Recall at the beginning of the show, I had said that we were down by 100 mil. The 100 mil came from the FrxETH CRV. Right now, FrxETH CRV, I got to update that. It's only 21 million. The FrxETH CRV only has 21 million left. Yes.
It's over. I don't see that being added any. Do you see that being added back?
No, I don't think so. I think this was like the perfect time. The team was like, might as well migrate it now. So there's like 21 million or so and change left in the FrxETH CRV. Frax PP increased by 20 million. And, like I said, Frax PP dropped. But regardless, the team definitely pulled. And I think that's where the 100 million kind of came from. It was like this pool just evaporating. That is now... I'm going to hit the rewind button going back in time to Sam Kazemian's very first product in crypto called IQ Wiki, aka BrainDAO. And today I want to talk about the IQ staking. And you can stake your IQ from 1 week to 4 years, and you would get 4x the voting power when you lock it up for 4 years. And it would decay linearly, just like how VECRV or VEFXS does. And the reason why you want to do this is because of the 108% APR. It's been pretty stable for the last, I would say, a month and a half around this 108, 110% APR. So if you have IQ on Ethereum, which I know 1,879 of you guys do, go to the IQ staking page and stake your IQ to get this sweet APR. Now, if the APR is not enough to incentivize you, well, maybe this 18 million treasury would. Okay. IQ has 18.5 million in treasury assets. And of that, they have it in FrxETH, which is 31%. Then they have a IQ and Frax, protocol owned liquidity of about 3 million around there. Then they also have 1.7 million of Frax, and they also have 300K in Frax Lend. So this is a pretty DeFi heavy protocol treasury. So if you want to put this treasury to good use, stake your IQ and get after it. All right, switching gears back into our scheduled programming with FrxETH. Here we have one of the slowest growing months that we've had. We only increased by basically 2% for the last 2 weeks,
This slow.
245,000.
Uh, uh, uh.
It's a grind. It's a grind. This is uphill. This is going on the treadmill, setting incline to 11. This is definitely pushing it. And we are at 245,855 Frax Ethereum. And that is an increase of 1.7%, of which 67% is hanging out in the S Frax ETH vault, and 25% is in the Curve LP, with the remaining 8% hanging in the Ether. So the monetary premium here is decreasing. It was 11% 2 weeks ago. Now, I want to take a look at the Curve FrxETH pair, because that was a little scary over the last 2 weeks. I mean, the last couple of days, where they said any ETH with the old compiler pair is at risk.
Oh
But
God.
fortunately, this was definitely not a compiler plus the ETH native pair, but this is our ETH and FrxETH. Here's the current breakdown of it. You wanted to swap 3,500 FrxETH, you receive an exchange rate of 0.9965. And the composition of the pool right now is a little bit off. It's kind of wacky, as you could tell. It is 80% FrxETH and 20% ETH. You see there's a white line for those listening. There's a white line right at about, what'd you guys say that? 66%, like 2/3 supposed to be FrxETH and a third in ETH. So we definitely need to regain some ground here. The APR right now is 4.2%. That is definitely on the lower end. And Sam said in the chat earlier this morning that they're going to crank up the incentives for this cycle. So expect that number to go up. But again, you have ETH deposit in here, you'll get the positive slippage going in anyways. Now, I want to highlight the last 30 days, we have gone down by about 40 bips in market share. Like, I'm okay that we are not growing. I'm just not okay that our competitors are growing faster than we are.
Than us, exactly.
Yeah,
What?
What
reverse world is this?
I don't know. But I think it's because Justin Sun did a lot of Lido rapping for the step for his thing. So
Lido's been making moves, right? Lido's gotten some huge deposits recently.
Huge, massive deposits across exchanges, across big whales, high net worth institutions, etc.
Well,
so
I wouldn't put it past. I mean, like, we've got 2 more months, like Sam said today or yesterday on the spaces, until FrxETH v2 comes along. And
Give or take 50 days.
50 days. Yeah, but is that, I don't know if that's for a code freeze and then it goes to audit, which is going to take, like a month or 2 months, or is that like full production?
I think it's full production. I think it's in the code is ready. He said today. He said the code is already basically freezed, and I think they're going to go through audits already.
So. Oh, okay. Then it's 2 months out. Oh, that's great. Then,
2 months
because,
out.
I think we just have to come back to the which report was that? It was one of the llama risk reports. Essentially said, like, everything is great about FrxETH, but like until the governance issues are solved, then we have to recommend that you like limit your exposure to it. And I think that's what people are doing. Like, until when FraxGov fully comes into play and the team no longer is running the validators themselves, I think bigger institutions will be much happier in using FrxETH.
Yeah, I definitely certainly hope so.
Before, you got to trust Sam, right?
Yeah. It's still a trust me bro coin, so I get it. I get the reservation. It just sucks that you see
not for long
Lido, like for everybody else, just kind of rocketing past us, pun intended. I definitely don't like to see this 7% number here. But regardless, one area that we are dominating, and that is the APY. So Frax ETH is earning 5.2% right now. And if you look at it historically, as FrxETH since basically February of this year, for the last 6 months or so, we've earned about 6.3% APY. So on average, it's about that 6.5% number. And on the graph on the right hand side, this is found on fax.frax.finance, and it's totally publicly available, so folks should go and check it out themselves. But you see here a comparison between holding FrxETH versus Rocket Pool RETH and Lido Steth, and we are above Rocket Pool by 49.5% and above Steth by 30% for the last 60 days, last 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So that it's clear definitive winner in terms of APY. And it's just going to compound too, right? It's just going to get bigger and bigger. So that's that. Now, switching gears to the middle child, the FPI, aka Sam's favorite product, and we did see some movement this week. We saw an increase in supply of 200K. We're now at 82.8 million in supply. That is a 20 bips bump. So, yay. The annual inflation index is tracking 3.1%, and FPI is currently above peg by 18 bips. Conversely, the Treasury also increased by 200K. Now the Treasury TVL is at $89,700,000, 37% of which is in the convex FPI Frax pair, and there is an equity, aka the excess of the assets minus the liabilities, of $4 million. That's to say, if FPI decides to shutter this door the next day, then FPIS or VEFPIS would get a split of this 4 million equity. Now, moving on to the sub protocols, the first one we have is the Frax Lend. This baby right here is printing. It has had 245 million in TVL. And I just want to do a shout out here is, out of Aave, out of MIM, out of every other Frax, all the other lending protocol, Frax Lend was the first one to get the bite out of the apple. And that is by design. And it is so awesome that the market played out just as the team had designed the protocol to do. And any comments here, boys?
It's like the one shining thing to come out. People understand that it's isolated and that there was a lot of liquidity that people didn't know about. Like the uni pools just got filled up. The maker pool got filled up. There was a ton of utilization that came into the pool just because people saw it for the first time and saw that the rates were like near zero with no utilization with these like huge amounts of funds that could take. So like looking at Aave, right? Their 1 month change is down 16.3%. Looking at Compound is pretty much flat, up 3%, but down 3% over the last day. So we've been making strides,
making moves.
Yeah,
making moves.
Superior product, getting superior results. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you guys can see here, the current borrowed amount is 66 million, and that represents a 70% platform-wide utilization rate, which I think is fairly low. I definitely would like to see this in the high 70s and mid 80s, but regardless, we're climbing our way back there. And as you see, the collateral value there's a graph on the right hand side, is we're pretty much back on par to where we were at USDC, the DPEG. So we would definitely climb back up the mountain. Things are looking good here. Now, I want to talk about the DEX that nobody talks about, and that is Frax Swap. And here I like to use the DeFi Llama TVL just because it doesn't factor in the Frax and FPI pair. Here we have 70 million in TVL for the Frax swap. That is an increase of about 2% over the last 2 weeks in TVL. And it has facilitated 52 million in trading volume. That is a 74% utilization rate for the Frax swap, the whole protocol. This is actually on the lower end. Usually we are printing in the hundreds, so usually turn over twice over the course of a month. So this has definitely been a slow month for the Frax swap pair. And some of the top pools of this pair are the obviously the Frax FPI pair, and then the the FXS Frax pair is 22 million over the last 7 days. A lot of people were
good.
bidding up some Frax. This is great. It was like 6 million 2 weeks ago. So it definitely basically 4x in volume the last 2 weeks for FXS Frax. And obviously, because of that, all the other Frax products also caught a bid, and the volume kind of shows that. And unfortunately, normally we would continue further with a profitability section, but there is some shenanigans going on with the Dune dashboards, so I was not able to pull a
No,
lot of the data, so I cannot pull
Ruggery.
profitability for you guys. But I will
No.
try to do that. I'll try to find a solution, and work around so that in the Substack at least you'll find something. But if not, in 2 weeks time when FraxCheck comes back, I will be sure to get the at least have our own Dune wizard to solve this for us. But regardless, please bear with us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Wait, can we talk about one thing?
Yeah.
I'm excited to add another base pool onto the base pool chart.
Mm-hmm.
So
What
yesterday,
base pool is that?
the like Psy, Pyongyang USD.
Oh, pie.
Yes.
Oh,
Why didn't they just name it Pay USD? Like
pay USD. I
Oh,
don't
that
know.
sounds a lot better. Yeah, you're right.
exactly.
Yeah, that's so much better mimetically.
That was like the first thing that Grills posted this on Twitter, saying that it was like the first thing that Sam said over that long podcast. It was like, yeah, we just got off the phone with Paxos. Hint, hint. I can't tell you anything. Hint, hint. But I would like to see a base pool, new base pool coming.
Big,
So
big. That was a hell of a Twitter space overall.
so much. It's gonna be a long post tomorrow
You're welcome.
or today. Today actually.
Yeah, lots of alpha. I mean, I don't think it's been more of an exciting time to be a fractionalist with everything on the docket. And two of the biggest quotes to come from the entire space was the next year of shipping is going to make the past year look like we were slacking, which is
Yes.
hard to believe.
That was
like a jaw dropping statement. And then the second thing he said was, Frax chain is not an app chain. We're gunning to be the biggest L2 on Ethereum. That's a bold statement. That is bold. And so, it's the best time to be a fractionalist, honestly. Just wait. Yeah. All systems go. All hands on deck.
Yeah, I was honestly very surprised that how fast they're, because I didn't expect Frax chain to come until March.
Oh, I didn't either.
Like
Yeah.
middle 2024, But he was just saying
But
how it's. Yeah.
I guess the infrastructure is like that much more developed than we think. And we thought that, you can launch your own L2 like that. So, it's pretty cool.
I guess so. Because he said what, by the end of the year we're going to have Frax V3, FrxETH V2, FraxGov's already out. Then now we're gonna have Frax Chain as well. Like
and bam.
4, just and Q4 is already basically here. So this is shook.
Kid, do you want to close this out?
It is. Yes. And if you want to keep being shaken with us here at Flywheel, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Make sure you join us at Flywheel DeFi on Twitter and Telegram. And be sure to head over to our flywheeldefi.com website to get that alpha streamed directly into your inbox. And you can follow me at 0xcapital_K.
You can follow me at DeFiDay22 on Twitter.
And you can find me at traders_inside.
And we'll see you in 2
next
weeks.
week. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Perfect.